Today, we're diving into one of the most historically charged and frankly myth-heavy moments in European history, the Battle of Kosovo.
Fought June 15th, 1389. Vidovdan.
Exactly, Vidovdan. A huge clash for the late Middle Ages, right there on the Kosovo Field near modern Pristina.
And this deep dive is, well, it's a challenge. We're not just talking about a battle.
No.
We're trying to untangle fact from, this incredibly powerful national myth, sacrifice, betrayal. It's all in there.
The sources force us to be almost literary critics as much as historians, right?
Absolutely. So to get started, we need to understand the scene. The Balkans in the mid-1370s, It was chaos.
The old Serbian Empire had basically fallen apart after Stefan Uroj died in 1371, a power vacuum.
Precisely. No central control. It splintered into these regional lordships. And that made the whole area vulnerable.
Vulnerable to the Ottomans.
The expansionist Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Murad I, he was moving steadily from Anatolia into Europe.
So who stepped up on the Serbian side?
That would be Prince Lazar Hrebeljanović. He ruled what we call Moravian Serbia, kind of the core remnant of the old empire.
He became the most powerful Serbian lord around.
Yes, and critically, he saw the Ottoman threat. He knew it was existential.
Even though his forces had managed a couple of wins against them before, like at Plochnik and Balecha.
Right, 1386 and 1388. But those were, relatively minor encounters, pinpricks, really, to Murad.
Murad saw the bigger picture, the Balkans as a gateway.
Definitely, a gateway to Central Europe. So in spring 1388, he launches this major campaign, moves his troops methodically.
Across key routes.
Yep. And he ends up in Pristina on June 14th, ready for the big confrontation.
Okay, so Lazar has to respond. What's his move?
It's actually quite strategic. He gathers his coalition, all the forces he can muster, and moves them directly onto the Kosovo Field.
Why there specifically?
The sources suggest he picked that spot because it let him control the routes Murad might take. North, west. It was the best place to try and bottleneck the Ottoman advance.
A defensive play.
The best one available. And putting together that coalition was quite something.
Who did he manage to bring in?
Well, his own troops, of course. Then a big contingent under his son-in-law, Vuk Branković.
Okay.
And crucially, allied forces from Bosnia sent by King Tvrtko I, commanded by Vlatko Vuković.
So a coalition forms, the armies are converging, but then we hit the fog of war, right? Trying to figure out what actually happened.
Exactly. It's a historian's nightmare. We have zero, absolutely zero, verifiable first-hand accounts from anyone who actually fought there.
None.
The contemporary sources we do have from Dubrovnik, Florence, Ottoman courts, they are all over the place.
Biased.
Heavily biased. Political agendas, religious spins.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly hard to pin down even basic facts like how many people died, let alone the tactics used.
So the numbers, Ottoman sources sometimes claimed like 500,000 Christians, which is clearly exaggerated.
Wild exaggeration, yeah, to make their own perceived victory seem bigger.
So what are the more accepted modern estimates?
Western scholarship generally settles on the Ottomans having the larger force, maybe 27,000 to 30,000, perhaps up to 40,000.
Okay. And Lazar's coalition?
Significantly smaller. Estimates range from, say, 12,000 up to maybe 20,000. Some push it to 25,000 maximum.
Still, a massive battle for the era.
Absolutely huge. But the really interesting part, the bit that cuts against that simple cross versus crescent story, is who was actually in these armies.
It wasn't just Serbs versus Turks.
Not even close. Look at the Ottoman side. Yes, mostly Turkish, Muslim vassals from Anatolia. But, and this is key, Murad also had Christian vassals.
Christian rulers fighting for the Ottomans.
Obliged to. People like Marko Kraljević, Konstantin Dijanović, Serbian rulers who were already Ottoman vassals. They had to provide troops.
So Serbs fighting Serbs.
Potentially, yes. And the Ottoman army wasn't just janissaries either. They relied heavily on regional infantry. Maybe only 2,000 elite janissaries were even there.
And the Lazar side, also diverse.
Definitely a coalition of necessity. Primarily Serbian, yes. But you had Bosnians, Croatians, Vlachs, maybe even some Hungarians.
And Albanians.
Yes, absolutely. Albanian lords were involved.
Yeah.
We know Teodor II Muzaka fought and died there with Lazar alongside other Albanian troops. It complicates the simple narrative.
It really does.
Yeah.
It sounds more like a regional conflict, almost a civil war, being drawn into this bigger imperial expansion.
That's a good way to put it. So Lazar gets this diverse force onto the field. How does he set them up against Murad?
The deployment seems fairly standard for the time, right? Center and two wings.
Pretty much. Murad commanded the Ottoman center. His son Bayezid had the right wing. His other son Yakub Çelebi had the left with the Anatolian troops.
And Lazar mirrored that.
Yes. Lazar took the Serbian center. Vuk Branković was on the right, and Vlatko Vuković with the Bosnians held the left.
Okay, the lines are drawn. June 15th dawns. How does it kick off?
It starts with Ottoman archers laying down fire. Then, the big move. The Serbian heavy cavalry charge.
In that classic wedge formation.
Exactly. And initially it worked spectacularly well. They hit hard.
Gave the Christians an early advantage.
A significant one. They apparently shattered the Ottoman left wing, the one Yakub Çelebi commanded.
A breakthrough. But often, those initial successes can be deceptive.
And this seems to be one of those times. That breakthrough was powerful, but it might have been the turning point against Lazar's forces.
How so?
Well, technology and maybe the terrain came into play. That heavy Serbian armor, which gave the charge its devastating impact,
Became a problem.
it became a liability once the initial shock wore off and the fighting got messy.
Bogged down.
Exactly. The heavy cavalry got stuck in, becoming easier targets for the lighter, more mobile Ottoman cavalry and infantry counterattacking.
And Bayezid's wing played a key role here.
Crucially, his right wing held firm against the Bosnians, and it was his counterattack that really seemed to turn the tide, helping to envelop the Serbian forces.
Leading to chaos and the Serbian lines breaking.
It seemed so. Infantry routed, the center under pressure.
Which brings us to Vuk Branković. He was holding the right flank. What happened there?
The story goes that he saw the battle turning, saw Lazar was captured or likely lost, and decided to retreat.
To save his men.
That's the immediate military logic. A strategic withdrawal to preserve his contingent when the main force was collapsing.
Makes sense from a commander's point of view.
In the moment, yes. But this decision, it gets completely twisted later on.
Into the betrayal narrative.
Precisely. The myth needed a villain, and Branković became the scapegoat centuries later.
We'll definitely come back to that myth-making. But first, the most astonishing event of the battle, Sultan Murad's death.
Absolutely unprecedented. The only time in history an Ottoman sultan was killed on the battlefield.
And the credit goes to one man, right? Miloš Obilić.
Universally, yes. In Serbian tradition, Miloš Obilić. Some Albanian folklore knows him as Miloš Kopaliki. The hero figure is clear.
But how he did it? That's where the stories diverge wildly.
It's fascinating. You have the dramatic tales. Obilić pretends to desert, gets taken to Murad's tent, pulls out a hidden dagger.
Or the one where he plays dead on the field.
Right? Plays dead, waits for Murad to walk past, inspecting the aftermath, then jumps up and stabs him. Classic heroic folklore motifs.
But is there a more reliable contemporary account?
Well, perhaps the most interesting is a letter from Florence, written quite soon after the battle. It confirms Murad died, assassinated.
But does it mention Obilić?
Not by name. It gives a different version. It says it wasn't one man, but 12 loyal knights, lords, who deliberately charged the Ottoman lines.
12.
12. And it even adds this detail about them breaking through a protective circle of chained camels the Ottomans apparently used.
Wow. 12 knights breaking through chained camels. Yet only one name, Miloš Obilić, survives in the legend.
Because it's something about how narratives get shaped, doesn't it? The need for a single identifiable hero.
Definitely. And what about Prince Lazar? His fate?
Captured during the rout. The accounts say he was brought before the now dying or dead sultan, possibly pressured to swear loyalty, refused.
And was executed.
Executed on the spot.
Yeah.
Which immediately cemented his status as a Christian martyr.
So, looking at the immediate result on the field, what's the verdict? A draw.
Tactically, you could argue it was an inconclusive draw.
Mm-hmm.
Both armies were mauled. Both leaders were dead. The remnants of both sides retreated.
Neither side held the field definitively.
Right. But the political fallout was immediate and unequal.
So for the Ottomans.
Murad's son, Bayezid, acted ruthlessly. As soon as he heard his father was dead, he had his younger brother, Yakub Çelebi, the one whose wing broke, executed.
Just like that, to secure the throne.
Instantly. No rivals.
Wow.
Chilling efficiency. That consolidated Ottoman leadership right there on the battlefield.
Okay. And for the Serbs, what were the longer-term consequences?
Dire. This is why it wasn't really a draw in the grand scheme, while both armies suffered heavy losses.
Serbia couldn't afford those losses.
Exactly. The battle critically depleted Serbian manpower. They simply couldn't field large armies like that again anytime soon.
But the Ottomans could.
Yes, they had vast reserves of manpower back in Anatolia to draw upon. It was a strategic catastrophe for the Serbian principalities.
Leading to vassalage.
Pretty much inevitable.
Yeah.
Those Serbian states that weren't already Ottoman vassals soon became so. They had little choice.
Including Lazar's own son, Stefan Lazarević.
Yes. Stefan understood the new reality. He became a loyal Ottoman vassal, even an ally. He had to provide troops for Ottoman campaigns.
Like at the Battle of Nicopolis later on.
In 1396, yes. He fought alongside Bayezid there. His sister Mara was even married to Bayezid as part of the arrangement.
Which brings us back to Vuk Branković and the betrayal myth. There's a political dimension here, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. This is crucial for understanding why Branković gets demonized. Years later, Stefan Lazarević, Lazar's son, and the loyal Ottoman vassal.
He gets rewarded.
He's rewarded by the Ottomans with Vuk Branković's lands. Branković himself resisted the Ottomans longer, but eventually died as their prisoner.
So the dynasty that cooperated with the Ottomans benefits at the expense of the one who initially retreated but later resisted.
Precisely. And the Lazarević dynasty needed legitimacy. What better way than to elevate Lazar's martyrdom to sainthood?
And paint your main rival, Branković, not just as an opponent, but as the ultimate traitor who caused the defeat.
It perfectly explains the political motive behind turning a strategic retreat into a foundational act of betrayal in the national story. It rewrites history for political gain.
Okay, let's unpack this shift from, grim political reality to enduring national myth. How does a costly, inconclusive battle become the symbol of glorious martyrdom?
It happens primarily through folklore, through oral tradition, epic poetry.
The famous Kosovo cycle.
Exactly. Collected by Vuk Karadžić in the 19th century, but reflecting centuries of oral storytelling. These poems gave meaning to what was, on the surface, a disaster.
And they center on those key themes we mentioned.
The three pillars. Sacrifice Lazar choosing the heavenly kingdom over earthly power, heroism, Miloš Obilić's incredible act, and betrayal Vuk Branković's supposed treachery.
It creates a powerful moral narrative.
Immensely powerful, but it's important to note when this myth really gained its political teeth.
It wasn't immediate. Locals adapted to Ottoman rule.
For a long time, yes. The myth gained its potent nationalist charge much later, really picking up steam with the rise of Serbian nationalism in the 19th century.
And the Congress of Berlin in 1878 played a role.
A huge role. When Austria-Hungary effectively blocked Serbian expansion into Bosnia, Serbia's national focus was redirected south, towards Kosovo, which was still under Ottoman rule.
Making the Kosovo story central to the idea of national liberation and identity.
It elevated the myth to cornerstone status. This ancient battle became the symbol of lost lands and future destiny.
Which explains why the date, Vidovdan, June 15th or 28th, by the modern calendar, is so significant.
It's incredibly potent, tied to so many key moments in modern Serbian history. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in 1914 happened on Vidovdan.
And Milojevic's Gizimestan speech.
Delivered on Vidovdan in 1989, the 600th anniversary of the battle. The date itself carries immense symbolic weight.
We should also acknowledge, though, that this isn't just a Serbian story, is it? The memory exists in other cultures, too.
That's a really important point. Albanian historical folklore, for example, also has its own epic songs about the battle.
Focusing on Miloš Obilić.
Yes, often linking his origins to the Drenica region in Kosovo. So the event resonates across different regional narratives, even if the interpretations differ. It was a huge multi-ethnic event, and its memory is complex.
So bringing it all together, how do we summarize the Battle of Kosovo?
Well, historically, it was a brutal, devastating battle, tactically inconclusive perhaps, fought between two large multi-ethnic armies, resulted in the shocking deaths of both commanders, Murad and Lazar.
But its real significance isn't military.
Not primarily. Its true power lies in its afterlife. How it survived not as a simple defeat, but was transformed into this profound narrative of moral choice, sacrifice, and national identity. A blueprint for struggle that echoes even today.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, our listener. The history points to an inconclusive battle, a draw that ultimately led to political subjugation. But the myth turned that into a glorious martyrdom, a conscious choice of a heavenly kingdom.
So the question becomes, what does it tell us about collective memory, about identity, when the story of choosing legend over perhaps inconvenient historical fact becomes so central, so powerful?
That complex relationship between history, memory, and myth in the Balkans, that's definitely something worth mulling over.